This week on Lunchbox Envy, there's an underwater one in Norway,
a volcano-powered one in Spain,
and a toilet-themed one in Taiwan.
It's restaurants!
Raw.
Hello and welcome to Lunchbox Envy. I'm Alex and I'm here with my fellow QILs, my fellow diners, Jack and Manu.
Hello!
Excited for some fancy plates today.
Oh.
So what defines a restaurant?
So it's an eating house establishment where meals are brought and eaten on the premises.
Bought and eaten or brought?
Bought. You pay money at a place and then you eat the food that you've just bought at that place.
Okay, but there are lots of things that I would say aren't restaurants that fit that description.
Yeah, what, like
Example.
a street food van?
Yeah, I asked whether it was bought or brought because there is a long history of like eating houses and inns and taverns and things which are the precursors to restaurants, where you would bring your own food and then they would prepare it for you and like eat it up. So like that was a stage of public eating before the restaurant.
cool.
I would say that I had a few things that distinguishes it from a cafe or a food stall or a cafeteria or whatever. Customers arrive primarily to eat. They can choose from a range of dishes.
Okay, yeah.
The prices are known in advance. They're listed. Food is prepared to order. That's quite an important thing, I think.
Yeah.
And individual parties receive separate tables and service.
Wait, so is a buffet restaurant then not a restaurant because it's not prepared to order?
It's actually a berry. I didn't really look for a technical answer so much as what you feel is a restaurant. Like, does the food quality... I think the food quality has to be higher than you can cook at home, which makes the definition very different if you're a bad cook to if you're a restaurant chef.
True.
Is there a sense
maybe
of
it's an
that?
occasion, like
Yes.
the fact that you're going out for an occasion. Because even if you go and eat in a cafe or a Pret or whatever, that's not an occasion. You're just going there to eat food, even though it takes all the other.
Don't you read about like people like Noel Coward who spent like a year living in the Savoy, and so he'd eat at a restaurant every single meal?
Yeah, but there's always people who are going to break every rule.
No, I know.
Oh, here's another one. How do you feel about eating on your own in restaurants?
I used to do it all the time.
I feel like that's another big thing. Like restaurants, it's an occasion. It's also, for me, a sociable thing.
Yeah.
Like you go with people,
I see.
you're celebrating the food, you're not cooking any of it, you're not hosting, so you actually have time to talk and eat.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part for me. I did have one more big question. How are we pronouncing this word?
Restaurant.
Oh, that's
It's
pretty
one
good.
of those, isn't it? Because
pretty good.
it's like there's a spectrum of pronunciation. I usually use champagne as an example. We say champagne in England. We don't say champagne. But then you also don't say champagne. So I would say restaurant. A bit
Capinero.
closer. yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's so true, actually. Champagne is a mix of both, isn't it?
So we say restaurant, I think, which is a bit of a combination. I don't say the
Restaurant.
r. I don't say the r.
The syllables, the number of syllables and the way you pronounce it kind of
Is it
differentiate.
2 or 3?
Yeah, it's 2 or 3, and it differentiates between the English, like British English and American English.
Oh,
so apparently
really?
in British English, we tend to say restaurant or restaurant.
3 syllables.
Yeah.
It's kind of anglicized, but there's 3. And then the Americans do restaurant.
Restaurant.
Yeah.
But we also don't say pavement.
No, exactly.
And they say sidewalk.
But yeah, the French have so many different, again, it's really hard to pin down, but there's the brasserie,
Yes.
the cozy eatery.
Oh, wait, I know that one.
Oh, go on then.
That means brewery, right?
Yeah. So it's where the beer's brewed on site. There's the bistro.
Yes,
Yeah.
that etymology is a bit murky. Yeah.
So the bistro is a kind of Parisian slang term for little wine shop. But the etymology, like we said, is quite murky. But the biggest difference between a brasserie and a bistro is that the bistro closes between lunch and dinner. And the
there you
brasserie
go.
stays open. And then my favourite, which I didn't know was a thing until last year, the bouchon.
Bouchon.
Which is specific to Lyon.
To Lyon, yeah.
Oh, what
And
is
it's-
that?
It's like a bistro, so it's very casual, and it serves like traditional Lyonnaise foods.
One of the things that defines a Lyon bouchon is the check tablecloth. Did you read
Oh,
that?
that's
Yeah.
like a real classic. That's like a restaurant cliche. It's like a check tablecloth, yeah.
And then there's another one I've never heard of, which is estaminet. Have you heard of it?
Estaminet. Only in passing.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
like
know
a
what that is.
northern French kind of Flemish one that
cool.
apparently their speciality is cooking meats and stuff that are really locally produced. But yeah.
Classic France to have 4 different words for restaurant. It's
I
like
love
the
it.
Finnish
I
have
love it.
47 words for snow, and the French have 47 words for restaurant, including restaurant.
On the word restaurant, it's hard to verify, but I read that it is, or at least used to be, one of the words that people most often Google to find out how to spell.
Oh, really?
Oh, I see.
I think it's like
That's
the
'cause
most,
tricky.
it's the most common difficult word.
Americans think there are 2 syllables.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Restaurant.
what are all these?
Necessary
vowels?
for me. I still cannot spell that word.
Have you heard of Restaurant Day?
No, what is that?
So this was something that started in Helsinki in Finland in 2011. I don't really think it's still going on that much in a formal way, which is a bit sad. I think it's died out a bit, but we should definitely bring it back. They used to do it like quarterly, so once every 3 months.
Wow.
And the idea was that like for a day, anyone could set up a pop-up restaurant or a cafe or a
cool.
bar, like anywhere. So like on your rooftop or in a cafe,
Whoa.
or
Wait,
like on the
wait.
street corner.
I'm like,
I'm smelling lawsuits here.
yeah, I was going to say health and safety, hygiene licenses.
But that's the
What
thing;
is
these things are
happening?
all suspended. I think so. And I think that's the understanding is that like, I guess you go and do so at your own risk. But in the same way that like I guess a bring and buy sale probably isn't
Yeah,
a
I
licensed
guess,
premises.
So
But
funny.
it's sort of it's like a community event.
Yeah.
And it started in Helsinki. I think it spread around the world, and there were quite a lot of organised places that did this.
I think we've got such a culture of like health and safety in this country. We can't imagine
Yeah.
anything being
100%.
at all unregulated.
Also, I've heard so many horror stories recently. So, a friend of a friend of a friend of mine works in a restaurant that is directly next to another very famous restaurant.
Oh.
And apparently, the hygiene rating is awful. Like, they've
Oh my
scored so low.
gosh. Oh, they've actually got an official low hygiene
They've got
rating.
a low
Do they have
hy-
to put it in the window?
I think they must do.
Yeah, in Britain, every single restaurant and cafe
Yeah.
has a green sticker with a rating or a hygiene rating out of 5.
Like somewhere near the entrance or
yeah,
something,
basically.
usually,
So I reckon 80% of ones have 5,
which is the best.
which is
Yeah.
the best, yeah. And about 19 of the remaining 20% have 4.
Yeah.
But occasionally you see one with a 3.
And
I remember being a student in Sheffield, and this place is shut down now, so it's all fine. But they were sort of serving curries out of what it was like a terraced house, so it didn't look that different. It had a big sign though, and we looked them up, and they had a 0-star hygiene
Oh my
rating.
god.
They didn't even have 1.
That's
I did.
crazy.
Surely you can't be open.
Surely
No,
they
no,
should,
they
yeah.
give you like 3 to 6 months to sort it out.
That's such a long time as well. Like I don't
is.
understand.
But
Like
also-
imagine knowing that the next day after you give out that hygiene rating, people are going to go and eat there, and you're like, well, there's no chance they've improved any of it.
They're doing delicious Bangladeshi curries.
Oh, Jack went there every day after
Yeah,
that.
I
and
did, I
he's
did.
still alive.
They should be able to flash a badge and like kind of raid, like
Yes, this is the raid.
come down from the big skylight.
Like
Like
instead of
14.
guns, they've just got like spray cans.
death hole everywhere.
There's another kitchen, a friend of a friend of a friend. They were making sausages illegally in their restaurant, and they had like a secret room full of their sausages, just hidden behind like a load of.
High strength.
Oh,
I'm imagining
so
like that
Extra
episode of
purity.
Breaking Bad where they go under the laundrette and have this amazing lab where they're making meth, but just
And
all
they blew,
sausages.
they blew sausages.
So the sausages, they were like selling them as like a side hustle
Yeah, well, no, it was like they were putting them on their menu, but I think you need like a special license or some
to
kind
make
of
sausages.
Yeah,
Interesting.
some botulism.
Wow.
Everyone was fine. Everyone was fine.
I feel like we've opened this in like a really disgusting way. I was hoping
Yeah.
this would be a really nice and classy,
we can do-
episode, but
How often do you go to restaurants?
Ooh.
Because it
Ah.
has really suffered, I think, certainly in London with rising prices.
it's tough. It's expensive. Yeah.
I read in a Guardian report, London restaurants basically break down the cost of a dish and where all that money goes. Because obviously people will see, I don't know, like bread and butter for £5, and they're like,
Yeah.
what?
Well,
This
yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
You can buy bread for £1 or whatever. But they spend so much money on rent.
Yeah.
That's the biggest cost, I
Rent,
think. And then
utilities, tax are like for all
wages,
establishments. That's the thing that's
water
causing
bills,
the problem. Yeah.
and obviously utilities go up for everyone, but they've got utilities as well as rent and staff and the employers' national insurance and stuff, and weird things like they pay council tax, but they also have to pay for private waste removal.
No, yeah.
It's such a big thing. Also, their laundry. Laundry
laundry.
is
Yeah.
insane in restaurants.
One example they put in the Guardian: they had beef sirloin short rib with wild garlic, cost £36 to the diner before service.
Yeah.
Makes just 44p in profit.
It's
crazy, yeah. So they're on really tight. I mean, obviously, I think restaurant eating should be an expense and a celebratory thing. You shouldn't be able
a
to
luxury,
afford it all
yeah.
the time, but I do encourage you to go and
Support your local eateries.
Yeah, exactly.
The
yeah.
thing that really makes
Use
my
it or lose
heart
it.
ache is that, and like, it would stress me out the most about running a restaurant, that ineffable thing where some days evenings you walk past a restaurant and it's just empty and the owner's just standing outside, and it's just because you need a couple of people in there for the
snowball
restaurant not
effect.
to look
You
awful.
need a snowball effect.
And then all of a sudden everyone will go and then suddenly it's full. But like every day you've got that challenge of what if no one walks through the door, and then everyone looks at our restaurant and it looks
Yeah.
empty, so nobody wants to walk through the door, so they
Right.
go next door instead. Like terrifying. Yeah.
Do you think that's a job. People employ people to just come and sit.
Be the first.
Yeah. It's like, you never want to be the first at a party. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that is that horrible
It's the
moment.
same
Yeah.
feeling.
I'd happily earn money
Yeah.
just sitting in
'Cause
If that is a job, this podcast is ending today.
Yeah.
And we're all getting girls doing that. They
lunch.
could maybe what they should do is they should like Home Alone it and have like mannequins and stuff like silhouetted in the windows having a good time, and then people will come in and be like,
Yeah,
oh,
that's a really
it's all
good
robots.
idea.
Yeah.
Too late now. Here's a starter.
Okay, on to our first course then, and that is Jack's.
Okay, guys, for your starter, I brought you a hot cup of restorative broth.
Ooh.
Is that copper soup, basically?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
It looks really nice.
And how much are you going to be charging us for that?
This will be $44.99. So this broth is why we have the word restaurant. So I'm going to talk you through the history of communal dining, because it kind of evolved over thousands of years. But there is actually a point at which we can basically define what a restaurant is.
Ooh, okay.
Nice.
Let me take you back to ancient times.
I thought you were going to start rapping.
So the ancient Romans had things called thermopylae.
Ooh.
And these were like bars that you could get served food if you couldn't be bothered to cook at home, or you might not have a kitchen, to be honest, because...
Yeah, most people just didn't have
Exactly.
ability to cook at home, right?
But yeah, we think they served quite simple fare, and they weren't occasions. You wouldn't go.
And they were like takeaway food
Yeah,
as
exactly,
well. Like,
yeah.
It wasn't really a restaurant, but it was kind of like for...
Absolutely.
There was a lot of communal dining.
But you were like cooking food for strangers,
Yeah.
basically. So then we fast forward to the Song Dynasty in China,
Okay.
which was 960 Common Era to 1279. So yeah, roughly
Like
1,000 years
11th,
ago.
11th,
But obviously like a
13th centuries, yeah.
huge, a couple of hundred years. And there are descriptions of what we would recognise as restaurants today, insofar as they had menus and people would go there as an occasion, and they were sort of wealthy civil servants. It wasn't available to everyone in
was
the
still
sort of
quite
middle
luxury,
or lower
yeah,
classes. It was quite elite. Chefs were called potmasters
Ooh.
or controllers of the preparation table.
No, bring that
love
back.
it.
Yeah.
Controllers of the preparation tables.
My compliment
Please,
is to the
yeah.
controller of the preparation table.
But it was all about the spectacle. So they would sort of lay out quite a beautiful space, and you'd sit there for a long amount of time, and basically the waiter would come, and then you would order what you wanted, and then it was his job, and it was usually a man, to bring out up to 20 dishes all in one go, all stacked up, and put them down in the order that you ordered them in, and recite them
Like a
all.
memory game.
A bit like a memory game, yeah. So it was a bit kind of poetic and theatrical.
It sounds like I could get one of those game shows from the 80s. Like, here's what you ordered. And then it all goes along in a
a cuddly
conveyor
toy.
belt. Yeah.
Isn't there one of the most stressful like games you play online as a kid, like having your own kitchen? doing
Yeah.
it? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then it got faster and faster and faster, and it's just like everyone in
Is
the
it a bit
ICT room
like-
screaming.
And then you're sat out the back crying, having a smoke as a 3-year-old. Like,
But yeah, they couldn't get anything wrong. Otherwise, they would like...
be killed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, not quite that extreme, but like in extreme cases, you lose your job. Because it was all
Very
about the
high end.
spectacle.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was so high end because people were paying so much money.
I read somewhere that like because there were these huge merchant towns, it was intra cuisine. So it was people who travelled from another part of China who
Right.
kind of like were looking to eat the food like it was
Oh, I
back
see,
home. So
like-
you kind of all the early restaurants are kind of like ethnic restaurants, but within
then-
China.
Sorry, that's like when you go somewhere and you just eat Mackies.
Yeah.
Like you gotta mix it up
It's
a bit.
traditional.
I love
It's
that
doing what people have been
been
doing for thousands of
this.
years. Yeah.
So then, within the Middle Ages in Europe, you would get inns, sort of like pubs and hotels, but they would be by the side of a road, so you could rest your horses and rest your head for the night. And they would serve food, obviously, but they would serve whatever they were cooking at the time. So there wasn't any choice, and it wasn't really an occasion. So we're sort of dancing around the concept here. And then...
But there are a lot of quite fancy restaurants today that do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like we're serving what we have on the menu today. It's
Yeah.
one, you have one set
Oh,
menu.
dear. Have you
But you
guys
still
heard
get
of the
choice.
Yellow Bitten?
No, what's
No.
that?
Well, it's
I think you mentioned it there.
yeah,
haven't
it's only open weekday lunches.
you? Okay.
They have a set menu.
It's like the post office.
But no, it's like one of the most popular restaurants in London. Like it's basically for people in hospitality who have odd days off, and they can go and like spend a shit ton of money. It does it really fun.
So then the first restaurants proper are from 1750s Paris.
Yeah.
And there's a guy called Mathurin Rose de Chantoiseau.
Oh, beautiful name.
Chant d'oiseau means birdsong, doesn't it?
Oh, well, that's such a French name.
I know,
So,
I know.
I imagine him as a Quentin Blake character.
Oh,
Yeah, I can picture it now, yeah.
big moustache.
1750s. But yeah, so he made an establishment which served bouillon restaurant, which
Bouillon
means
restaurant.
restorative broth.
Ah.
And they were designed as sort of like health food places. So that's where you start getting individual tables so that you don't spread germs.
Yeah.
And you had menus, but we had them in Songdynasty China. But you also had upfront prices and a choice of meals. And you could come in at any time. That was the other difference. So a lot of restaurants before were like,
It's like turning up for dinner at a
yeah,
certain
we're
time.
serving this at 4 p.m. Be there or be
Right.
square, right? So now you could turn up at like 2 p.m. and be like,
Get
I
your
want one of
experience.
those, and they'd be like, okay, great.
And
we'll serve it.
crucially, I guess, this is the use of the word restaurant, and we still call them restaurants.
Exactly.
So like, this
I think
has to be a bit of a
that's the
milestone,
killer
yeah.
bit. But he would serve like basically just broths and rice puddings, and everything is porridge.
It's giving.
Because it was serving to like infirm people.
Yeah.
It was designed to be for the weak-chested.
My immediate thought is enemas. After all of the chat, I'm like, it's definitely going up someone's butt
Imagine
as well.
if the first restaurant didn't serve food; it served enemas instead.
I get 100%. There is definitely a sector of society in London who would happily go to a really chic restaurant just called Enema, all lowercase, and all the food is served up your bar, and that's just the latest trend.
Yeah, they do. They do really well.
There's NutriBullets at every table.
The NutriBullet just fills up, spins around, and then you see it go like that, and everyone goes.
I'm just thinking of the Nando's spice level for how spicy you want to do.
Oh. Why do we have heat receptors there?
Yeah, so weird.
Oh,
It makes
yeah.
no
Yeah.
sense.
But then
Solid.
we've been evolved waiting for an enema-based restaurant, clearly.
Sorry.
But yes, it was commonly thought there was a Monsieur Boulanger who invented the restaurant.
Okay, this is a thing that I read everywhere, and it's a myth.
It seems to be. So there's a common story that it was Monsieur Boulanger who invented basically exactly the same thing.
Another Quentin Blake character.
Yeah, basically. He would serve one dish, which was sheep's feet in white sauce.
Okay.
Which
And
doesn't
wasn't
seem-
there like a whole, he like took on the guilds?
Yes.
Because apparently like there were loads of laws in France about who could prepare certain hot foods, and like each trade had protected dishes. And then with his sheep stew, he like took on the big guild and won.
It was like
and-
McVitie's in the Jaffa Cake.
Yeah.
He had to like prove that his sheep's broth wasn't a proper meal or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rebecca Spang, the food historian, hasn't found any evidence of this man ever existing.
So it's a total myth.
Well, yeah, I think his name just got confused.
Wow.
Very
Because
specific.
Mathieu Rosin de Chantoiseau definitely
Yeah.
existed.
So kind of early restaurant-y culture was Chinese, really, and Asian and Japanese. But like the first kind of restaurant as we know it was French
With the name restaurant.
with the name restaurant, but it wasn't Monsieur Boulanger, which people seem to think it was.
Absolutely
Interesting. Okay.
So what's the date for the first restaurant as you've described it?
1765.
Okay, because I was also looking into really old restaurants, and the Guinness World Record holder for the oldest restaurant is in Madrid.
Yes.
Yes. So it's Sobrino de Botin.
But there's a 1725 is the year that they say.
Yeah.
But I think I have an explanation for that, and that's because it evolved into a restaurant. It started out as an inn where people would bring food, so it wasn't really a proper
Okay.
restaurant.
Also, they're Spanish. They eat later in the day. They
That's
probably
very
opened in
true.
725.
Well, I
and
did
then
read-
1725 was the opening time. 5 in the
I
afternoon.
did, but they're being given a run for their money by another restaurant in Madrid called Casa Pedro.
Wait, give them a run for their money. Surely it's like you can't overtake
Yeah.
someone.
Well, they're really
Yeah,
trying.
the's always so many different
They're
claims.
actually
Oh, I see.
It's
It's like,
trying.
oh, we were
Yeah,
invented
And it is always a bit
1725.
fuzzy when it's that far back. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
did you open first, or actually did you do this and then you were this, and then
And
what
also
counts as a
triggers
restaurant?
broom, like if it comes under different control and then they knock it down and rebuild
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
is it the same restaurant?
Yeah.
But it really sucks for them because they've got records up to 750. They hired a historian to like go,
1750.
yeah, 1750. All over their restaurant says 1702, like on the sign. They've like printed it everywhere. But because of the Civil War, loads of the records burnt down, so they're unable to like go
Prove
further
it.
yet. So it's an
Interesting.
ongoing
Again, you might
investigation.
uncover a tomb of someone who's like, I built this restaurant in 1750.
Oldest restaurant in the UK.
Oh,
Oh,
I didn't find this one.
You love this one. You
Do
know
I?
it.
Oh, no, I
gosh,
do.
you did.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
is this the one that was a few doors down from the LQI
Yes.
office?
I do know this one.
Yes.
Yes.
we've eaten there. I've eaten there.
Have
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
It was okay. it's a sort of very old school, musty. Everything's sort of covered in velvet.
Oh, yeah.
All the waiters were 150 years old. What I love about it is that it's on Maiden Lane, which is where the old QI office used to be. So I can't historically dox yourself, can you? And Rules is at one end of Maiden Lane, and at the other end is a really big red brick building, very old building, which used to be a workhouse.
Oh yeah.
And in Dickensian times, as they probably weren't known then, but like, came to be known, a child, Charles Dickens, was employed in the workhouse there as an impoverished kid. And then later in life, as a rich, successful publisher, he was a member of the Rules Club, which is on the floor above. And they know which seat he used to sit in. He used to have a favourite seat by the window. And if you sit there, you can see the workhouse. So he used to sit in the window and look at the workhouse.
Like, that's where I came from.
And I'm like, he must have sat there being like, this is so Dickensian.
Wait, did he know the word Dickensian existed?
No, I was joking.
I was like, wow, he's so forward thinking.
Living in the Henriot era.
Yeah.
Just haven't written your book
Make it a
yet.
thing.
But yeah, so just quickly from 1750s, we have the written bill of fare. So basically you go in and you see the price list.
Yeah.
That was introduced in Vienna in the 1790s.
Right.
But they were called Gasthofer, so they weren't like restaurants. I think the restaurant proper comes from Paris. And part of the reason Paris was a hotbed for restaurants is because of the revolution. So in the 1790s, all the aristocracy, which had their heads chopped off, they all had private chefs.
They'd left.
Or they left, yeah. They all had private chefs that were very well trained in making delicious food, and they had no one to cater for anymore. So they spread across Europe and the rest of France.
Oh, so they're all working in private houses.
And we're
then suddenly
basically
they need
like,
jobs.
let's set up a restaurant, and then we can make money off
Today's
our
special
skills.
boiled head of my boss.
This is why we should kill more rich people.
Yeah.
It's
We
genius.
can take their chefs,
Yeah.
Eat the rich, and it
Yeah.
can be cooked by their staff.
So the early restaurants in Paris in the 1790s, they all had mirrored walls, and it's partly because
For sex reasons.
not sex reasons, but it's mostly because they were all about health consciousness. You could be seen to be eating, and you could like see your neighbors eating healthily. And I think this is like the precursor to everyone Instagramming their food. It's like,
Wow, it's like
you don't
live
have
Instagram
cameras
live.
and that.
It's like live streaming to yourself.
Exactly, live streaming.
That's what a mirror is. It's a live stream to yourself. So I don't understand. So like the logic behind that was what, like you can kind of revel in the fact that you're all being so healthy, and you're like,
you
look at
can be
us,
like,
look at me,
I'm
look at you.
restoring
And,
myself.
Wow.
Do you like watching other people eat?
or yourself. Do you want to watch
I
yourself
don't
eat?
want to watch myself eat.
Depends how my hair's looking. But mukbang exists. Surely that was just...
but that I don't know why that feels different.
There's a restaurant in Covent Garden called Balthazar's, which I think you've probably been to, which has big mirrors on the wall, but they are hung at a slight angle. So it looks like that scene in Inception, and it always makes me like really uncomfortable because like there's a whole other restaurant at a sort of 40-degree angle sliding towards you.
Although
those seats
surely
spinning.
that is exactly like the kind of selfie Instagram, because everything's like from that 45-degree
That's
down.
true. It's more flattering, actually.
it's
Yeah,
got
that's
filter.
true.
You look amazing.
And maybe that's it. Everyone's a bit more contoured, and they're like, "Well, I will have dessert because I'm looking snatched today." Okay, on to our second course, and that is Manu's.
I wanted to start with a question, which is, if I ask you to imagine a chef,
Yeah.
what are they wearing?
They've got 4 legs and a long tail that looks like a worm and lots of fur.
Okay, that's... I don't know where you're eating, Jack.
A ratatouille restaurant.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to go. They've got the like a white coat, and they've got checked trousers, and a big tall white hat. They're
chef's
doing the
kiss.
OK symbol, the chef's kiss. Mwah.
Beautiful.
And they've got a big wooden spoon.
Today, I have brought a toque.
Oh, not the kind of toque, like a hat. Just to be clear.
TOQUE, right?
It is a chef's hat.
That really suits you.
That does.
I love it. I'm actually very, very excited about this. I will pass it round. Don't worry.
You are literally passing the toque.
Yeah, I'm passing a toque round. Today, I wanted to talk about kitchen attire, kitchen culture, and my thesis that I wrote, which is all about professional kitchens.
Your actual university thesis.
My actual master's ethnography. So this thing that I'm wearing on my head, the toque. There you go.
Which,
Thank you.
for those who aren't...
It's the puffy white chef's hat that looks like a cake.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
like a marshmallow.
Is it supposed to stand up tall? Or
Well.
is it supposed to be like slid over like a beret?
It's a personal preference
Feel
thing.
like a Smurf.
Basically, no one wears this anymore, apart from ceremonially. But this used to be kind of very standard fare for traditional French chefs. So the origins of this hat are pretty confusing because it's a very weird style. There's an idea that it was inspired by the crown-like hats that Assyrian chefs, so ancient Assyrian chefs, used to wear. Basically, monarchs at the time were really worried about getting poisoned. So whoever you employed as your chef, people to prepare you food, you really, really trusted them. So you gave them a special hat to wear. Like, I really trust you. Have a nice crown-looking hat and loads of money.
But there's so much space to hide things in, like a rat.
Yeah, there's a lot of space for poison. Yeah.
So there's another kind of story that it's inspired by Greek Orthodox priests.
Oh, yeah.
So if
I can see that, yeah.
It's very toky. They're normally in black, but they're a very similar shape. So there's an idea that chefs fleeing the Byzantine Empire fled to Greece, and they were saved by these Greek monks, and they kind of adopted the hat as a mark of respect.
Okay.
And it is fire. Like, it looks really good.
Yeah. It's a shame they've done that because it's a cool look.
It's really good. But the really tall chef's hat that I imagine when we think of chef was actually popularized by Marie Carême, who's the first celebrity chef we've spoken a lot about, who was really, really into like the kind of military style chef's hats that they were wearing in France at the time. But the way that they kind of used those hats to distinguish between different ranks of chefs was with colours. So you went into the kitchen, and depending on where you were in the kind of kitchen order, you'd have a different colour hat. What he did, according to the story, is just made his super tall. So instead of different colours, you just had like, the taller the hat, the higher up in the kitchen you are.
That's so dumb.
It's so silly. But Escoffier loved it. So this was another really famous French chef who was alive between 1846 and 1935. He was the one who brought the kind of military brigade system, so really strict hierarchy, into professional kitchens.
I'm just picturing like a full army in full regalia with a big marching band.
Dude, like, have you seen the rest of their outfits? Like, they're
It's
very
quite military,
military.
isn't
So
it?
they've got
Yeah.
like the buttons, but he also loved this hat. So that's why it's kind of become enshrined in this like classical image of.
Escoffier was quite influential in what we imagine as fine dining.
No,
basically,
exactly.
yeah.
He's like the fine dining chef.
Cool.
And then you have the pleats in the hat as
Oh,
well.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So this is, again, the origins of this hat are really very murky, but there's an idea that for every pleat is like a culinary technique that you picked
Yeah.
up. So if you have 100 pleats in your hat, you might know how to cook an egg like 100
Yeah,
different ways.
I've heard it specifically with eggs. It's like
Yeah.
you've got 30 pleats, you've got 30 ways to cook an egg.
That's bullshit.
know.
Sorry, no way. Prove it. Like,
Oh.
you're,
Yeah,
it's
true.
like, you're a chef.
It's
Like,
like
a
boil
challenge.
100 eggs.
But yeah, it's in my head, it is like the ultimate dick swinging contest in the kitchen of the time. You have a really big hat.
Yeah.
Very, very good at cooking. It's really interesting because there are so many elements of this kind of very militarized, very masculinized kitchen culture that have survived even today when there's like more and more women coming into kitchens. And this is something that I focused on loads in my thesis, which I brought with me. My thesis.
beautiful.
Oh,
all
how many words?
26,061
Oh,
words.
gosh.
So
Wow.
buckle in. No, so it's changing tastes, women and gender performance in London restaurant kitchens.
Oh.
So basically what I did was have this question about how women in food and the influx of female chefs, is it changing professional kitchen culture? Are they becoming a bit like quote unquote kinder and less like aggressive? And I went to 3 different kitchens in London, and it was so much more interesting and so much more complicated than I thought. But one of the things I really loved focusing on is how women kind of do femininity in kitchens, which is a hyper masculinized space and doesn't really leave any room for like traditionally feminine appearances. So
Yeah.
makeup, big no.
Yeah.
Everything literally melts off your face. I'm
Yeah.
assuming you've never opened an oven with
makeup
mascara
on
on. It's the craziest feeling. Your eyelashes like curl
It's
back.
on my
and
bucket list.
Similarly with hair, Everything has to be up. It's normally
Tucked
really
away.
greasy.
No fake
No nails,
nails.
absolutely no nails.
No high heels.
No heels, unfortunately. No jewelry. One of the things I found really interesting was to do with chef's trousers, because there's so much of the professional kitchen that's designed for men.
That's something I've never seen a single skirt in a kitchen ever. Like that's a profession
That's
where
true.
I've never seen a skirt.
No,
Yeah.
I mean it's partly safety. So chef's trousers are designed to be baggy and airy because you have that kind of insulating air layer to keep you cool. But also, if anything splashes on you, you don't want it to touch your leg.
Yeah.
Some of them have like quick release pop studs, like stripper trousers, so that if anything happens, you can just like whip them off. We have no idea where the image of the checkered trouser is from.
Really?
Like,
But could it be from the checkered tablecloth in the early restaurant that you mentioned? But also kitchen floors are traditionally checkered tiles as well.
Yes. Yeah, some people think it might have something to do with hiding splashes, so you look a bit tidier.
Okay.
But there's another idea that it comes from the outfits of English huntsmen. So it's like a kind of well-to-do, kind of tartany.
I think
Which
it's
I'm-
like dazzle camouflage. It's to distract like the German naval radar.
Well, they haven't yet attacked. So
No, it's
true.
working. Is
tea-towel.
a tea towel.
Okay.
Or a side towel if you're getting chefy with it. But yeah, this is used for basically everything. So there's a food writer called Ivy Knight who wrote an article about the side towel in Food and Wine. And she says that they are pot holders that you carry things with. You wipe things clean, you dry things, you dry your hands, you mop your brow, you soak them and freeze them and wrap them around your necks when it's really, really hot. You wet them and you put them underneath chopping boards to stop the slippage. You can wrap them around things to stop them from leaking. It's just like an endlessly useful tool.
It's a bit like the towel in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the
It's
Galaxy.
exactly like the
Really?
towel in Hitchhikers. Restaurants go through so many of these every day, and they are quite
That's
expensive.
why the
as well.
laundry bills so high.
The last thing, the most important thing, Sharpies.
Oh, okay.
Never be without your Sharpie.
Really?
They
What
go
do you-
missing. So literally every single thing in a kitchen is labelled, and you have FIFO, which is first in, first out. So you basically use things in order that they've been made. If you're fancy, you get specially printed labels, but mostly it's like masking tape.
Okay, so Sharpie and tea towel, you're saying are
Great.
these should be a part of our cliche image of a chef.
What about front of house? Because there's one thing that I always picture with a waiter, particularly a French waiter, and that's a moustache.
Oh.
So the first decade of the 20th century, moustaches in Europe are a symbol of the elite and the sophisticated. And in fact, at this time, all officers in the British Army had to have a moustache,
Oh.
and the French Army.
Wow,
What if-
they had to.
What if you can't grow a good moustache?
There are reports of people sticking
Sticking
fake
them on.
moustaches on.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
What was interesting was restaurant culture had boomed over the late 1800s, and some waiters were sporting moustaches because they thought they looked smart. But the culture around restaurants at the time was that it was replicating a big grand house. So you would go out from your big grand house and go to a separate fake big grand house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, they were role playing as domestic servants, and domestic servants weren't allowed to have moustaches because they
Right.
weren't elite enough.
Uh-huh.
So there was this kind of reckoning between waiters. Are they like lowly members of the
working
servant
class, yeah.
Or are they like, because they are a bit more independent.
They're
They've
working, but they're
opted-
in,
And
in
yes,
the upper
it's sort of
class.
in
Yeah.
their
Oh, that's so
space.
interesting. So the waiters wanted to be seen as
Exactly.
a kind of member of the upper class, and presumably the upper classes were like, no, you're our
Yeah,
staff.
you should know your place.
Wow.
So they went on strike, and it cost a lot of money
Really?
to the hospitality industry. In 1907, yeah, and we don't know the figures, but thousands of waiters went on strike.
Imagine striking of a mustache.
I know.
That's so weird.
And I think they wanted, shorter hours and more pay, as you often want when you
Shorter
strike.
hours and longer mustaches.
And I actually think they conceded on the pay in order to keep the moustaches.
Oh my God, that's
Wow.
insane.
But there's some great quotes. So the Memorial de la Loire said, in French, but the translation was, women are quite determined to starve with their children rather than see the whiskers of their husbands still fall under the razor.
Wow.
Which I like.
I guarantee no wife was actually saying that.
They're like, take the money. That's another good use for a Sharpie. Draw it on.
That's true.
Ooh.
Anyway, so they won their argument, and then by the end of the First World War, moustaches were not quite so like fashionable, and there was a bit
one
more...
man was about to change all that.
Charlie Chaplin.
Okay, on to our third and final course today, and that is from me, and I have brought you my bucket list of restaurants I'd like to eat at.
Ooh, nice.
I have collected quite a list of unusual and distinctive restaurants
cool.
out there. What do you guys have any specific restaurants, memorable restaurants you've been to?
The Rainforest Cafe for my 7th birthday.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a
Very
classic.
nice.
Yeah.
I think it still exists.
I went to like a roller coaster restaurant. Like
Did
you're not on a roller coaster, that'd be insane. But the food comes on little. It's like there's like little roller coaster tracks all around the room, and the food
that's
rolls
so
down.
Wait,
cool.
does
That's
it go
like-
upside down? How does it?
No, I don't think
okay.
so.
I love-
Why is the food always only up on the floor?
Um,
That's like Sushi Belt, but to the next level.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
and I
love
do
sushi
love a
bars,
sushi bar restaurant. I love any restaurant that has like a train system or anything. That's really good
Yes.
fun. Yeah.
I actually can't think. I don't think I've been to a novelty restaurant before.
Okay, well maybe you will
Too
want
serious.
to go to one
Oh.
of these. So the first one is El Diablo.
Okay.
Which is a restaurant in Lanzarote in Spain.
Yeah.
It's a pretty normal looking restaurant, but then they've got a sort of well that's built over a volcanic vent. So the restaurant
Wow.
is built close next to a volcano,
Ooh.
and the volcanic heat comes up through this
No
hole,
way.
and they grill all the food on the volcanic
That's
heat.
so cool.
Yeah.
Is that
I mean-
quite carbon neutral then? You know, you don't have to pay
Yeah,
energy
pretty much.
bills.
Yeah, that's true. They are actually. Yeah, they don't have to. Yeah, they don't have to pay for.
And it's
And-
called El Diablo.
Is that
It's
the
called El
devil?
Diablo. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty.
On the nose.
Pretty hellish. Yeah, it's pretty hellish. Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
so tempted to dress up as Lord of the Rings characters.
And
just
throw a
like-
ring in there.
It's like, excuse me.
It's
An
on
what are you
onion-
doing there?
Throw an onion ring in.
kind of the opposite of that. There are a couple under the sea that I would love to go to.
Oh.
So there's one in Norway called Under, which is it looks
Makes
really
sense.
cool. It looks like it's like a rectangular block of a building that looks
Oh.
like they sort of put it on the shore and then
It
tipped
slipped a
it
bit,
like,
yeah.
like it's kind of fallen into the sea.
I think
so
I've
that
seen this,
one
pictures
end of
of
it
it,
is
yeah.
stuck in the water. The restaurant itself is really cool. It looks like a Bond lair. It's a very minimalist concrete room that's
Yeah,
quite dimly
classic
lit.
Norway.
And then one wall of this room is just a floor to ceiling window that's
Okay,
underwater.
cool.
Do they
I was
serve
worried.
fish?
They do, which
So
was
you can
really
be like,
interesting.
"I want that one."
Yeah, maybe they just open the window really fast and grab the fish and close it again. I don't know. But what's interesting is that the building also supports marine life research. So I don't know what it's like to have a job as like a marine biologist trying to save the fish while like in the same building.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're just going through the tables, knocking over the...
You like CPR a fish back to life over 6 months. You're like, I finally saved an endangered species, and then next day your colleague has cooked
On the
it because they
plate.
were short. Yeah.
That's
Don't they
funny.
do this with safari? They're like, oh, we're funding the research
Yeah.
and the conservation of these animals if
By
we let a
letting
couple
you-
of rich people shoot a
Yeah.
lion
Yeah,
once in
that's
a
true.
while. Like,
It is
it's
a
such
bit of
an
like weird mental
interesting-
gymnastics. Yeah. There's another water themed one. It's a bit different. It's the Labasin Waterfalls restaurant in the Philippines.
Okay.
And it's an artificial waterfall, but it's a very big waterfall that the restaurant is built at the bottom of, and so the water is kind of crashing down right next to one side of it. But then the
Just
restaurant.
super loud, you can't hear them.
Well, it is. I think
Like,
it is probably it's going to be quite a struggle. Yeah, it is very noisy. But then the restaurant itself is kind of on a plateau, but the water rushes over the plateau, so you have to take your shoes and socks off to
No
dive.
way.
That's so cool.
and it's
That's
all
quite
long
nice.
benches, so it does look like someone flooded a Wagamama's to sort of put it outside.
So nice.
But yeah, that seems kind of cool. I like the idea of like having your feet washed while you eat.
Yes, it's
Very
true.
biblical.
Then in Finland there is an ice restaurant.
Of course.
Of course there
Yeah,
is.
of course there is, exactly. But it looks pretty amazing. But I don't know what food they serve.
No, if
So
your plate
all
comes up, be
frozen.
careful the plate's hot and then just starts sinking through
Yeah,
through
or
the
so you're
table.
always sending the food back because it's too cold.
That'd be genius.
It's like going to the pound shop and being like, how much is this? Yeah. This is maybe my favourite one. I don't actually know whether I want to do this or not because it sounds insane. It's called Dinner in the Sky.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have one...
Sorry.
Yes. Have you done it?
I know I've seen people
You've
do
seen,
this.
you've seen people do
It
this?
was something at the O2,
Yeah.
and I think we were going to see Christina Aguilera or something.
The O2 is the kind of place where this would
yeah,
happen.
yeah. And then before we went in, we saw this crane lifting this seat. Well, I mean, you
Well,
explain what
it's
it is.
exactly that. So it's not in one location. It's like a travelling experience. I've got a picture here.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it. That's what
It's basically
Ooh.
the idea is that there's a massive crane, like a really big crane that goes really high into the air, and it winches up a dining table which has seats attached to it. So you basically get strapped in around a dining table. It's kind of like that scene from Mary Poppins, but like on a much more intense scale, because you're not floating in a room, you're floating like 50 meters
What
above
if you need to pee? This is my only thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no toilet
Well,
break.
my worry is like, what if you drop a fork? Because in a restaurant, you just pick it up, but here you'll kill someone. Yeah,
And you're
but
presumably seat belted in. and
yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
kind of probably like a roller coaster. You're strapped into the seats. It's literally like a dozen people around a table, just to describe it a bit more. And all the chairs are obviously attached to the table, so you are strapped in and like attached to the table. And then I think there's a chef kind of in the middle. The middle of the table is a sunken bit, so that they've prepared some of the food, but they do also sort of cook some of it up there on an open
Ooh.
flame. And so the chef's in the middle giving you this 3-course meal.
Your nearest fire escape is just fall off.
Yeah. It can last up to 90 minutes, depending on the event. I mean, it is just a chain that's holding you up there, so it's going to be very windy and swingy and like, not fun. I think that's crazy. I think humans need to stop and chill. And
So you wouldn't.
so that's kind of it's on my list. It's right at the bottom of the list because I'm like, if I've really got nothing else to do, then maybe it's better.
The biggest restaurant in the world,
Yeah.
it's in Syria.
Ooh.
It's called Damascus Gate. And it can serve 6,014 people.
Wow.
Which I looked it up. It's bigger than the home stadium of Boston United
Wow.
or Bromley, to name
Wait, just all of
League
Bromley.
2 club.
Wow.
Bromley.
6,014 is quite a weird number.
I know,
Maybe
it's
squeezed in a
odd.
couple more
Yeah,
tables there.
that was.
It's 54,000 metres squared. But they've basically got sections. They employ 1,800 people.
Whoa.
And they've got waterfalls, replicas of Syrian archaeological artifacts.
Wow.
And
If I worked in front of house, I'd have so much fun when people turn up being like, "Oh, I don't know if we can squeeze you in," and it's just like empty. Like, oh, there's a lot of bookings tonight. And then
That's
I
so
also
good.
then I would seat them right by the toilets, even though
Yes.
there's like hundreds of miles of empty tables.
50,000 square meters. You pick this one.
The waiter's coming all the way over from the kitchen.
You can see him from miles away, just like jogging over.
Yeah, God, imagine trying to catch their eye over 50.
Yeah. Well, excuse me. Excuse me.
So another one, we've mentioned this before, I think. Dans le Noir this is in
Noir.
London. This is a
Oh.
restaurant. So it's like it's literally just a restaurant, but it's pitch black, and they turn all the lights off.
Wasn't this the one Rosie was shitting
Rosie was
on
shitting
me?
on it, yeah.
Well, she was like, it's a bit of a gimmick and it's a bit silly. And
It is a gimmick, but I back it.
it's it's a gimmick that I would try once for the fun of it. Although I do think the novelty would wear out
Oh, I
after
don't think
5
I'd go
minutes.
twice.
No,
Oh,
but like
right.
I think halfway through I'd be like, I actually can't. I don't know what I'm eating here. But apparently it's staffed by visually impaired people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
And
do
it's
that.
integral to the plot. It's the meet cute of About Time, isn't
I
it?
know,
Yes,
that's
it is.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
It's so
that was a good
cozy.
idea. Yeah, this is a weird one. The New Lucky restaurant in India, in
Yeah.
Ahmedabad, which it's right next to the Sidi Saeed Mosque. This very famous historic mosque, and it started off as a kind of tea cart by the cemetery that was there. This very old Muslim cemetery, and it's now grown into it's open-fronted vegetarian cafe, but it's like a proper building. But they've built it on top and around the burial ground.
no.
So I have a picture here. Look, so there's literally tables with people eating, and then there are graves and kind of coffins on the ground with little fences around
What
them.
kind of cemetery? Is this a Muslim cemetery? That's wow! I didn't, because you're not supposed to go anywhere near the top of a grave. Like walking over a grave in Muslim culture is like,
Well, I don't think you'd walk over them, and I think that the staff clean the graves like every morning and kind of tent and put flowers on. So it's kind of maintaining the cemetery, I guess, which it might otherwise not be. I'm not
Nice.
sure.
Mosques often have good kitchens. I remember in Edinburgh when I was working the Fringe, just flyering, we'd go to the mosque kitchen.
Oh, really?
They did such good food and really cheap. Yeah.
That's a good hack. Then maybe my favourite. There's a lavatory-themed restaurant in Taiwan called Modern Toilet Restaurant.
I've seen this one. This is so
That's
good.
so funny. What presumably you sit on a toilet.
I mean, it's like
you
something
eat.
out of AI. So like you sit on a toilet. The tables are sinks. Your drinks come in like urinal-shaped cups. The whole thing actually evolved out of an ice cream parlor where they did like soft serve chocolate ice cream that looked like poo, and so
Nice.
they still serve that.
Is it successful?
I think it was actually a bit of a franchise for a while, and I think now there's only one restaurant left,
Right.
but it was very
Is
popular. Less so now, but I think this one in Taiwan is still open.
Wow.
So,
Would you guys go?
again,
Yeah.
I would have a look. I don't know whether I'd like drop 60 quid on a meal there.
Do you go to the toilet and it's just tables with tablecloths?
So that'd be so
Can't shit
confusing.
anywhere.
Yeah, the risk of somebody going to the toilet in the wrong toilet. So
Oh, that is stressful.
I'm going to finish on a couple that actually you can't go to anymore
okay.
because they've closed down, sadly. A friend of the podcast, the Heart Attack Grill. has closed last May, only a month or so ago. So to remind everyone, this was this hospital-themed restaurant in Las Vegas where they I think you can go there dressed in like gowns, and the servers are dressed as nurses, and they just serve these unbelievably unhealthy burgers called like the triple bypass.
Didn't they sell cigarettes as well?
That's the only vegan thing on the menu.
It was anyway. They've had to close it after 15 years.
For what reason? Just no one's coming in anymore.
Everyone's dead.
The only
You only go once.
I'm going to finish on a twins restaurant on 2nd Avenue in the Upper East Side.
Okay.
It was opened in 1994 by twin sisters Debbie and Lisa Gans. It was staffed by more than 30 sets of identical twins. So they like ran everything, and like the whole concept was just like, we're twins. They all had to work like on the same shift, so that you could only work there if your sibling was there. Also, if one twin called in sick, the other had to stay at home as well, because like the whole point is that you're both there.
That's
So
true.
that's correct. If one was fired, the other one got fired.
Imagine ordering with one and then trying to flag someone and then
Yeah.
not
They
being
don't
able to
remember
order
that.
Did you not get my order? Yeah. I think there must
sounds
have been
like-
so much confusion.
Yeah, it sounds like the gimmick isn't really work. That's the wrong setting for it.
It had to close in 2000s, but the twin database that they built up ended up being the start of their talent business. So they now run a twin talent business. So
I thought you were
happy
going to
ending.
say it's all of the twin studies that scientists
yeah.
like to run, like in space and blah blah blah. I thought you were going to say a base
That would
of
be
those.
that would be the effective way of using them, is that you split them up so that one twin is in the kitchen and one twin is waiting, and you use their telepathic powers to get the orders in really fast.
Genius.
Okay, that's it for this week's edition of Lunchbox MV.
You can follow our socials for foodie facts and podcast updates. We are on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Lunchbox MV Pod.
You can also get in touch and send us your facts, recipes, questions, or suggestions for future topics by emailing us at lunchbox@qi.com.
And we will see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Lunchbox MV was hosted by Jack Chambers, Manu Henriot, and produced by me, Alex Bell. This has been a quite interesting podcast. Have we got anything on tipping?
We do.
Well, in the interest of tipping your
Should
staff.
we give you 12.5% more content?
Yeah.
Tipping is thought to have started in England, which I was surprised with because we really
we don't have a tipping culture anymore,
Not
yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And it was when guests would go and stay at someone's house, you leave some money for their servants as a like, thank you for looking after me.
Ah.
Again, really fudgy etymology. We think it might come from an old word for to give, to handle, to pass. Like I said, tipping culture is really different all over the world. In the UK, we're not very good at tipping. In the US, they love tipping. Apparently, they imported it from Europe because wealthy Americans thought it made them look fancier and more European.
Ah.
But yeah, I
Didn't
think
work, guys.
but there's actually basically like a scientist of tipping from Cornell University called Michael Lynn, and he's done like loads and loads of studies on tipping, and he actually wrote a guide that we mentioned in QI really briefly on for wait staff on how to boost your tips.
We're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, you know what, it's a legit study. So it's called Mega Tips, Scientifically Tested Techniques to Increase Your Tips, that he published in 2003. It's basically a review of lots of other studies of wait staff and how to boost your tips. So he advises wearing like a crazy hairpin or a funky button or something because customers love the like quirkiness of
Customers
it.
will feel sorry for you
Yeah.
because you look shit.
But
Here's some money to buy some new clothes.
he says, do not wear offensive iconography if you do this one.
Fair enough.
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, okay.
That's just how to get on in life.
Sure. That's how not to get fired from your job.
This is true. There's another one that he calls postural congruence. So basically, as a member
Rubbing
of-
yourself up against them.
yeah, like
Yeah,
get
really.
physically as close as you possibly
way.
can to your customer. If you can,
Get you today.
get your face
Oh.
close to their face.
Is that just to threaten them?
no, friendly.
Yeah.
Pull up a chair at the table whilst
Oh,
you're
okay.
taking their
It really
order.
annoys me when they do that.
I've never seen it,
I'm
but
like, don't settle in. This isn't going to take very long.
Is this specifically in America? Because I feel like Brits would react very differently to all this.
hate it. And then there's something he calls touch manipulation.
Ooh.
So touching customers.
Like under the table.
It's just like people apparently, according to another study he reviewed, like being touched on very kind of neutral bits of the body.
Okay, like a shoulder.
Yeah, so like if you're asking someone a question or you're taking their order, you can like touch their shoulder.
It's not like when they hand
very
over the
pokey.
card and then you just like
the brushes.
Brush
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently
It's risky. It's very risky, that.
that boosts your tips by 12%.
Wow.
You get in touch with customers.
I think it depends whether you're like a man or a woman. And
That
like,
is very
I reckon
true.
they were quite
Yeah.
sexy women. And
that is it for this episode of Lunchbox Envy. Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.